I never thought I'd be the kind of guy who second-guessed his partner's late nights. For years, Emma and I had been steady, college sweethearts, who turned into a couple people described as solid. But over the past 6 months, her habits started changing. She'd come home late from work, claiming last-minute deadlines, or team meetings that ran long. At first, I believed her. She had a demanding job, and I wanted to be supportive. But as weeks turned into months, the excuses started sounding rehearsed. It wasn't just the hours. It was the way she carried herself afterward. Her smile looked forced. She avoided eye contact when I asked about her day, and the biggest shift. Her phone, which used to be tossed carelessly on the couch, was suddenly glued to her hand or flipped upside down. When I asked if something was wrong or if she wanted to talk, she brushed me off. "You're too insecure," she said once, with a laugh that stung more than I'd admit. Another time, she rolled her eyes and told me I was reading too much into things. I tried convincing myself she was right. Maybe I was being paranoid. But then the little inconsistencies piled up, like her saying she was at a client dinner, yet her co-workers posting photos from happy hour without her there. Or her working late, but forgetting to mute the background music of a crowded bar when she answered a quick call. That's when suspicion turned into certainty. I needed to know. Not because I wanted to catch her in something, but because I couldn't live in this limbo anymore. I confided in my best friend Daniel, who half-jokingly suggested I put a tracker in her car. At first I dismissed it as ridiculous. But that night, lying awake while Emma texted clients at 1 a.m., the idea didn't sound so crazy. The next weekend, I bought a small GPS tracker. My hand shook when I attached it under her car, a mix of guilt and desperation flooding me. This wasn't who I wanted to be. The suspicious boyfriend spying on his partner, but Emma had left me no choice. For the first week, the tracker's data lined up with her stories. Office, gym, occasionally the grocery store. I almost breathed a sigh of relief, thinking maybe I really was overthinking everything. But then came Thursday night. Emma said she was staying late at the office again, yet the tracker pinged her car parked outside a hotel. At first, I thought maybe it was a mistake, a glitch. But the car didn't move for hours. And that's when I made up my mind. The next time she said she had to work late, I would follow her myself. The following week, Emma casually mentioned she had to stay late again. I felt my stomach drop, but I didn't let it show. I kissed her on the cheek, wished her luck with her deadlines, and watched her walk out the door as if everything was normal. But inside, I was already planning. I waited 15 minutes before grabbing my keys and heading out. The tracker showed her car moving toward downtown. My heart raced as I tailed her at a safe distance, headlights off when I could, like some amateur detective. I kept asking myself, what am I even doing? What if I'm wrong? The dots on the GPS app stopped moving at the same hotel as before. My chest tightened, slowed down, parked 2 blocks away, and walked the rest of the distance. The evening air was cool, but I felt like I was on fire. Sure enough, Emma's car was right there in the hotel parking lot. I stood frozen, staring at it, as if the vehicle itself could confess the truth. My mind raced with excuses. Maybe she was meeting clients here, maybe there was a company event, but deep down I knew. The tracker hadn't lied before, and it wasn't lying now. I waited, pacing back and forth, trying to build up the courage to go inside. After about 20 minutes, my patience was rewarded. I saw her, Emma, walking out of the hotel lobby. And she wasn't alone. She was with a man I didn't recognize, tall and broad-shouldered, his hand resting casually on her lower back like it belonged there. They were laughing, too close, too comfortable. My world tilted in that moment. I ducked behind a row of parked cars, my heart hammering. She looked different with him, relaxed, alive in a way she hadn't been around me for months. That hurt more than I expected. I pulled out my phone and snapped a photo, hands shaking so badly that I had to take 3 before I got one clear enough. My instincts told me to confront them right then and there, but something stronger held me back. If I stormed in without proof, she could twist the story, gaslight me, or even deny it altogether. Needed more than one picture. So I stayed hidden and followed them at a distance. They got into his car, not hers, and drove off. I trailed them across town until they stopped at a restaurant. Not some out-of-the-way dive either. A romantic spot candlelit tables visible through the windows. It was a date. I sat in my car across the street for almost 2 hours, watching them eat, talk, and laugh like a couple. Every smile she gave him felt like a dagger. Finally, they left, his arm draped casually over her shoulders as they walked out. I drove home in silence, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. By the time I crawled into bed that night, Emma still wasn't home. She slipped in around 2 a.m., smelling faintly of perfume and wine. She kissed me on the forehead like nothing had happened and whispered, "You worry too much." That's when I knew. This wasn't about insecurity. This was about betrayal. And soon she was going to know that I knew. The next morning, I couldn't even look at Emma the same way. She was humming in the kitchen, making coffee like nothing had happened. I stared at her, wondering how she could pour cream and sugar so calmly after sneaking around behind my back. My hands shook on the mug I held. She noticed rough night. She asked, flashing me a smile that now looked more like a mask. "Yeah," I muttered, trying to keep my voice steady. I wanted to scream, "Where were you? Who was he?" But I bit it back. I wasn't ready to tip my hand. Not yet. That day at work, I barely functioned. My boss asked me twice if I was okay. I lied and said I was fine, but my mind was spinning. I knew what I saw, but part of me still needed undeniable proof. Something that Emma couldn't twist, deny, or gaslight me out of. So I started documenting everything. Screenshots of her texts when she said she was working late. GPS logs from the tracker, neatly saved in a hidden folder on my laptop. The photo of her with Mr. Talon broad shoulders outside the hotel. I even began writing a timeline of events, piecing together every late night and flimsy excuse she had fed me for months. That night, when Emma said she was going out again, I didn't argue. I kissed her cheek, told her good luck, and watched her leave. Then I followed. This time, she didn't even bother with the hotel first. She drove straight to the guy's apartment. My stomach churned as I saw her walk up, punch in the code at the front gate, and disappear inside like she had done it 100 times before. I sat there for nearly 3 hours, lights off, phone clutched in my hand, documenting it all. I needed someone to talk to before I exploded, so the next day I called my older brother. Mark, he's always been the level-headed one in the family, the guy who tells you the truth even when it stings. We met up for lunch. I slid my phone across the table, showing him the photos, the GPS pings, the logs. He scrolled through them quietly, his jaw tightening. Finally, he looked up. "I hate to say it, man, but this is exactly what it looks like." Hearing those words out loud nearly broke me. But Mark didn't let me wallow. He leaned in, his voice firm. "Listen, you can't confront her empty-handed. She'll spin it, blame you, maybe even accuse you of snooping. You need to be smart. Gather enough evidence that there's no way out for her." I nodded, my throat tight. "So what do I do? Just keep following her?" "If you can stomach it," he said. "Or hire someone who can." That idea hit me like a lightning bolt. A private investigator. Someone trained, objective, who could gather what I couldn't. And if Emma wanted to play games, fine, I'd bring the receipts. When I got home that evening, Emma was already there, smiling, asking how my day was. I forced a smile back, but inside, I was miles ahead. She thought I was in the dark, but soon she was going to be blinded by the truth. The very next morning, I started researching private investigators in my area. It felt surreal, typing hire pie to catch cheating spouse into the search bar. A part of me still couldn't believe I had reached this point in my marriage, but the other part knew there was no going back. After a few calls, I found a guy named David. He sounded professional, straightforward, and not the kind to sugarcoat things. When we met in his office, he leaned back in his chair, listening as I laid everything out, her late nights, the tracker, the photos, the apartment visits. He didn't even flinch. "Unfortunately," he said, "I hear this story more often than you'd think. You've already done a lot of groundwork. What I can do is confirm it with hard evidence photos, video, timestamps, the whole package. Something she can't deny if it comes to a confrontation or, God forbid, a divorce."
Ow.
Hearing that last word stung, but I knew it was a real possibility. I nodded. Do it. The next week was agony. Emma kept up her little charade, coming home late, showering immediately, giving me half-hearted excuses about working on big projects. I played dumb, smiling, asking about her day. acting like the trusting husband she thought I still was. All the while, David was tailing her, documenting everything. 3 days later, he called me. "You're going to want to come in." I drove to his office, my hands slick on the steering wheel. When I walked in, David had a file waiting for me. He slid it across the desk like it weighed 100 pounds. Inside were photos of Emma and the same man, arm in arm, laughing together at restaurants, walking into his apartment, leaving the hotel in the morning. There was even one of them kissing in his car. Each photo was stamped with a date and time. My chest tightened as I flipped through the evidence, page after page, hammering the truth into me. "She's been seeing him regularly," David said quietly. "It's not a one-time thing. Looks like it's been going on for months, maybe longer." Sat there in silence, my throat burning. Months. That meant while I was cooking her dinner, folding her laundry, and planning our future, she was sneaking away to build memories with someone else. On the drive home, I couldn't stop thinking about the betrayal. Every smile, every "I love you," every kiss, it had all been tainted. I knew I couldn't sit on this forever. The question was, how to confront her. Should I slam the file down on the table and demand the truth? Or should I wait for the perfect moment, expose her lies in a way that left no room for excuses? That night, Emma walked in, smiling, carrying takeout. She kissed my cheek and said, "Thought you might like sushi tonight." I stared at her, feeling the rage build in my chest, but I forced it down, not yet. The evidence was mine, and she had no idea. The only thing left was choosing when and how to use it. I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those photos, her laughing with him, holding his hand, kissing him like she used to kiss me. The woman I thought I knew, the one I promised my life to, had been living a double life right under my nose. That morning I knew I couldn't drag it out any longer. I had the file hidden in my backpack, and I decided today was the day. If she wanted to keep lying, I was going to make it impossible. Emma came downstairs like nothing was wrong, hair still damp from her shower, sipping her coffee. "What are your plans today?" she asked casually. I looked at her and felt a strange calm settle over me. "Actually, I think we need to talk," I said. She blinked, tilting her head. "About what?" I reached into my bag, pulled out the file, and set it on the table between us. Her eyes flicked down, and for the first time, I saw a crack in her mask. Her smile faltered. "Go ahead," I said. "Open it." She hesitated, then slowly flipped it open. The first photo stared back at her and the guy walking into the hotel. Her face went pale. She turned the page and the color drained even more. By the third photo, her hands were shaking. Finally, she looked up at me, eyes wide. "Where did you get these?" she whispered. "Doesn't matter," I said coldly. "What matters is that I know. I know everything." For a long moment, she just sat there, her mouth opening and closing like she couldn't decide what lie to use. Then she tried. It's not what it looks like." I almost laughed. "Not what it looks like?" "Emma, there are timestamps, locations, pictures of you kissing him. Do you really think I'm that stupid?" Tears welled up in her eyes. I made a mistake. Okay, it didn't mean anything." "Didn't mean anything?" I snapped, slamming my hand on the table. "You've been sneaking around for months. It told me I was insecure. While you were out building another relationship behind my back. Do you have any idea what you've done to me?" She covered her face, crying, but I felt nothing. No sympathy, no urge to comfort her. Just emptiness. "Who is he?" I demanded. Her hands dropped slowly and she muttered his name, the same one I'd seen on the lease. Turns out he wasn't just some fling from work. He was someone she had been seeing on and off even before we got married. That was the knife twist I didn't expect. And my whole marriage had been built on a lie. She reached across the table, desperate. "Please, we can fix this. I'll end it. I'll do anything. Just don't throw away what we have." I leaned back, staring at her, and said the words I never thought I'd say. What we had is already gone. When I told Emma what we had is already gone, her face crumbled. She begged, swearing it was a mistake, just a phase, that she still loved me. "But love doesn't come with hotel receipts and lies." I stood up. "I want you out of this house." Her eyes widened. You don't mean that." "I do. This marriage is over." She grabbed my arm, desperate. "What?" "Think about what you're doing. Our families, our friends." I pulled away. "You destroyed that the moment you chose him over us." For a moment, she just stared at me, stunned. Then her tears slowed and bitterness replaced them. Fine, if that's what you want. It was, within days, I filed for separation. My lawyer said the evidence was airtight. The photos, the PI's report, her hotel bookings. Emma packed her things and moved in with her parents. When the truth spread, fallout was immediate. Her parents called me angry at first, saying, "Emma told us you were controlling, insecure." I sent them the evidence. After that, silence. Some of her friends cut me off, loyal to her version of the story. Others admitted they weren't surprised, apparently. People had seen Emma with the guy before. That betrayal stung even more, knowing whispers existed behind my back. My parents were devastated. My mom cried, saying she always had a bad feeling but stayed quiet. My dad shook his head and said, "Son, sometimes love blinds us." Nights were the hardest. The house felt too big, too empty. I replayed moments in my head, wondering if I could have stopped it somehow. But I knew the truth. Emma had made her choice. And the cruelest twist, the man she blew up our marriage for? He dumped her within weeks. I didn't hear it from her, she was too proud. A mutual friend told me she'd been devastated. I didn't feel satisfaction, just clarity. She gambled everything and she lost. And for me, walking away was the only way to finally win.